Okay, so it is November 1st, and this is the scheduled meeting for the Nantucket Commission on Disability. I'm going to skip all the usual announcements because I think that's unnecessary these days. We've all been through so many Zoom meetings. So I think what I'll start out doing is taking a roll call. Who's attending? So when I ask your name, just respond. So Jeanette Topham,
Here.
Georgia Snell. You're muted, but I see you nodding, sort of.
Georgia.
And
Here. I'm sorry.
Mary Beth Cheskowski.
Mary Beth?
Yep. And
Yeah,
Augie.
Maloney. Yeah, here.
And Augie
Here.
Cheskowski. Good. Okay. Oh, and then staff is Brenda McDonough
I'm here.
and Brenda's here, and I am Mickey Rowland, chair. So actually, I guess what we'll do is I'm just going to adopt the agenda as written unless anybody has any objections. And looking for public comment, and there is no public attending, so we'll skip that. Approve open session minutes for March 14th. Has anybody looked at those?
I did.
I didn't receive them. I don't think I
They
didn't
look
do
fine
it.
to me.
I'll text them to you, Jeanette. After
Okay,
this,
thank
okay.
you. Mhm.
Okay, no worries, Jeanette. That's how I'm going to communicate with you from now on, is texting, because I think it's better for us. Okay.
Right,
All
definitely.
right. Great. All right.
Okay, so we'll skip that approval of the minutes till next meeting. How's that?
Okey-doke.
So now we have elections of officers.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, again.
So anybody want to be chairman?
I recommend Mickey Rowland.
I'll second.
Who nominated Mickey?
I did, Georgia.
Georgia.
Okay, any other nominations? Looking around? No?
Yeah, you were waiting for the hands to run up, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so all those in favor of electing me as the chairman, just say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, vice chairman. Who's our current vice chair, Brenda? Do you know? Does anybody know?
Is
I
it,
think it's Mary Beth.
I think it was me. I'm happy to continue in that post.
Perfect.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll nominate Mary Beth.
I'll second. Beat you, Jeanette.
Well, I didn't second it. I was just saying aye.
All right, so everybody in favor of Mary Beth as vice chair?
Yes.
Aye, yeah,
Aye.
Yep.
Good. Do we need a secretary?
No.
Not really.
I don't think so. That's you,
we
Brenda.
have one.
I think
Okay.
we're covered there.
Yeah.
Okay, done with elections of officers. Unfinished business. What does that entail?
No, you know what I did, Mickey? I went on Robert's Rules of Orders to see how I'm supposed to organize the agenda exactly. And so this is just the format. They said that how the agenda is supposed to be organized. So I just put them down there. There is no old business, but I just put it down there as a format.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since there is no old or unfinished business, we'll move on to new business.
Yep.
New business. Brenda, do you want to do the update ahead of that?
Yep, that was kind of down there on the agenda too. So there's been a lot going on, just like a lot of good stuff going on with the Commission on Disability, and just like a lot of just like answering a lot of questions for people that were coming here to visit. Just like, permits, just a lot of interaction with a lot of people. But some of the things that we did was one of the things we applied for a grant with the DPW, the Mass Office on Disability. Had that grant program available again to municipalities, and the grant entails anything to either improve access on municipal owned property or to take down a barrier. Okay, so what we did this year, and I would love to have people's input, because hopefully they'll do it again next year, and we can, and I would love to apply for it again. So what we did this year is we worked with the Department of Public Works. First of all, Mickey and I and Alan Reinhardt went around and looked at some places that we wanted to make accessible, and he was totally on board with it. So then we went out with Drew Patnoid and Paul from the DPW, and what we're gonna do is that there's the at the Galley Beach, we know that that boardwalk ends at a really inconvenient place. It's a boardwalk to nowhere. They're going to extend that boardwalk 160 feet, so it gets us closer to the high water mark. So at least it gets people closer to the water, and you can walk on that almost down to the water instead of like walking in sand. So that was one. I thought that was a good one. And then for the Jetties Beach, we're doing about the same thing. Right now, they have the platform, they have the boardwalk, then they have a platform at the end of it. We're going to extend the boardwalk 100 additional feet, and then put the platform back onto that additional 100 feet. Just because, once again, it'll get you closer to the water, because it's not really that close to the water. At least if you added an additional 100 feet, it's like you come off that platform and you can actually gather around that platform area, and you're close to the water, and you're still close to the platform. Before it kind of like stopped too soon, you know. And if anyone has any questions about this, stop me.
Augie's just really happy.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He's mumbling, "That's awesome."
Okay, that's great, Augie. Good. And so another one is like Children's Beach, which I really love. Children's Beach. I love how we have that ramp going up to the platform right there against the wall at Children's Beach, and we have benches along the wall. It's really a great thing. But again, you're at the edge of you're far away from the beach. So what they're gonna do is, off to the corner, they're going to kind of like at a 45-degree angle, they're going to get 50 more feet of platform. It's going to kind of put you right in the middle of the beach, you know. So again, you're closer to the water, you're on the beach, and so yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And then now a couple of new things we're hoping to do is, if you go down Hulbert Avenue, and right across from Willard Street, there's a path that goes right from Hulbert Avenue to the harbor. Okay, it's people travel it a lot. It's not accessible right now, and so what we're gonna do, what we hope to do, and I keep saying going to do, that's we're going to put 150 feet of boardwalk, 140 feet of boardwalk from Hulbert Avenue to the bulkhead, that because there's a bulkhead a lot on the harbor area, and so we're going to do the boardwalk to the bulkhead, but then we have to put stairs and a platform and rails. There's no way to like break through that. There's no way to ramp it, because it's like maybe about, say, 36 inches, and that would be a 36-foot ramp, and it's just, we cannot ramp it. So it was like the best that we could do with the handrails, the stairs, and a platform. And so we're going to do that there. And then going down further down Hulbert Avenue towards the jetties, there's a street called James Street, and again, across from James Street, there is, it's like a big shell road, and there's a couple of homes that the driveway shares that part of the road. And then you come then you have a bulkhead, 25 feet of grass area, and then another bulkhead, and then you can access then you can go on to the beach. So what we're hoping to do is like create some stairs and a platform at that first bulkhead and rails, put in a 25-foot ramp, then another stair and platform and rails onto the beach. I know it's not wheelchair accessible, but there's no way we can get wheelchair access to that part of the beach. So that's what we put the grant in for. You know, and Augie, have any comments on this, hon?
No.
No, you good. So what the thing was, we're trying to create better access to public land, right, to the beaches, and the North Shore is probably the easiest to do because there's no dunes. And so that's why we're kind of sticking with that area. We can also do other areas if anybody has any suggestions, or this grant is for so many, anything on municipal property where we can improve access or remove barriers, we can apply for this grant for. So if there's something that,
Brenda,
yep,
one thing that I'm just thinking of now, and probably should have thought of this earlier, is that, those pathways that you're talking about down on James Street and Willard
Yeah.
Street get you to the beach, but, traveling on the beach is often very challenging for a lot of people, but they may want to just go there to the beach and hang out. So, maybe we should have, or maybe it's not too late to suggest we put benches, you know, sort of permanent benches at the ends of those paths. I don't know.
once you're on the beach, Mickey.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's room to do it. I'd have to go back and take a look to see if that actually makes sense at those rights of way. But I think a lot of people would be happy just to get down to the end of the path and just hang out right there rather than having to go down to the beach.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so without going over the bulkhead to the beach, you're talking about the end of the path.
Well,
And
I don't care how far they go as far as they want,
yeah,
but as soon as they get to the sand, that's where it gets challenging.
correct.
So if at the end of the steps, the bulkhead, boardwalk or whatever, if there was a bench that was available, I bet it would get used.
I
So,
think it's a great idea.
but we'd have to kind of revisit the sites and see if there's an appropriate place to put these benches.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna give a shout out to Drew and to Paul. They were so like, when I approached them about this, applying for this grant from the Mass Office on Disability, they were right on it, and I was there like, okay, this is what we're looking for. And they says, we can make this happen. They were just like so positive, so easy to work with. It was just like, it was really a great experience. So I'd like to give a shout out to Drew and to Paul for being so receptive and so on it with me. And they helped me, they had put all the estimates and everything together. I submitted the grant, but they had to do a little bit of work also, to get that from me, materials, costs, estimates and everything. So anyways, hopefully, so I reached out to Drew to see if we heard anything about it. And so he emailed a couple of people at the MOD, but I don't think that they've awarded the grants yet because it's not up on their website. And typically once the grants are awarded, it's right up there on the website. So anyway, so I'll just keep you posted if we get that grant or not. And if we get that grant, everything has to be done by next June 1st. So it'll be done for the whole summer season, which will be great.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
The Galley restaurant has a lot of Nantucket women who are slightly handicapped go
Yep.
there.
To the
And
beach, to the restaurant, to the beach. Yep.
And so I didn't know if the bench would work for them, and they carry their beach chairs and whatever else they want to bring. But I could give you Ellie McVicker if you would want to call her and get her suggestions.
Oh, that's great. I think a bench sounds great down at the Galley.
Yeah, I don't know whether the Galley would allow it if you put a bench or something, but I've seen them. I went there last couple of years ago, but now I go to the beach with my children. It's much easier. They can drive me on instead of me walking. So anyhow, I just was thinking, Ellie was mentioning that the other day about that. She was happy that first off that the walkway was up too soon or whatever. I mean, pulled up, taken away.
Yeah.
There's still people going to the beach at this time, because we've had a wonderful, fall here, we'll say. So anyhow, but I can give you her number.
Thank you. What do you think about a bench at the Galley, Mickey?
Well, I was just thinking about that. First of all, that's public land. It's not, the galley has nothing to do with it. So it's up to the town, not the restaurant. At the jetties, is there a bench at that platform or just the platform?
No, there was supposed to be a bench, but there is not.
At the jetties. Are you
At the
talking?
jetties. The platform was actually supposed to be much bigger, and there's supposed to be a bench around it with a space on like you walked, say like the boardwalk's right in the middle of the bench. On each side of that was supposed to be an opening for wheelchairs, or for, and then was supposed to have a bench around there, but that didn't happen. It was in the design, but it didn't get
Yeah,
executed.
I wonder if maybe the bench might be, I mean, people do tend to bring their own chairs, and I guess they're probably used to that. I mean, I guess a bench would be handy, but I'm just wondering if since it's such a narrow space, is the bench gonna be sort of in the way like are people gonna be sitting behind it, and is it blocking their view and things like that?
Well, most of these women sit on the side, on the fence side. So I
Right.
don't know. I mean, I haven't gone the last year, so I don't know what's happening. But I just got a text from Ellie, I see, but it's about another thing. So I can give you her number and you can call and talk to her.
Well, it's
Okay.
worth finding out from whoever the users are if they think a bench would be worthwhile. My original thinking was regarding the two accesses down off of Holbert, because I think they're just more appropriate places for benches.
Uh-huh.
But
I understand.
let's find out what people think.
I
Okay.
think a bench is good myself. Because if I were to go down there, and I don't go out much, but walking with a cane and trying to carry a chair, not
Mhm.
Yeah.
can't
That's
do
what
it.
Ellie says.
Right.
She's got her bag, she's got her cane, she's got her chair.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I
So,
think we just have to think about where the best place to put a bench would be.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
it's off to the side.
Right off and at the end maybe of it, almost to the end,
Yeah.
before they get in the water. Because these women also go into the water holding hands. And I'm
Love
not,
it.
I mean, I know what your location is a little bit curvy when you're going in. So I don't want to fall in the water.
Yeah, let's ask around.
Right, I can, you want me to
Right.
put a big bug in Ellie's mind or ear?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Okay,
I wish that and we can always do this next year too. Maybe at the end of that boardwalk at Galley, it'd be a place for a platform and a bench.
mm-hmm,
Maybe that would be like that would really work out well, and and maybe even next year, now that I'm thinking of it, the platform that we have at the jetties, maybe we could enlarge it and include a bench,
yes.
just
Oh,
okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say about these boardwalks? All good? Okay. There was for the triathlon this year, there was an organization. I don't have the organization right. The Achilles organization. It's a big, I think it's international organization, and they help athletes with disabilities. And they help them through like all sorts of services and programs. And we'll have like, say, like one of the athletes was blind. They have like someone that runs with them, someone that swims with them. I mean, they just do a really great job. Achilles International is called. Anyway, the headquarters in New York. They reached out to me because there's two athletes with disabilities going to planning on competing in the Nantucket Triathlon. One of them was blind, and one of them was a double amputee on his legs. And I think one leg was maybe above the knee and one leg was below the knee, but nevertheless. And anyway, they did not have a clue or anything about Nantucket. This organization really didn't, about traveling here, about getting like, just like each airline has a lift, just how are they going to transport the hand cycle that Cedric, his name was was using the hand cycle for the bicycle part of it. They had to get that to the starting line. Anyway, there's a lot of logistics going back and forth, you know, which was great. So we were really able to help them out immensely, and I hooked them up with Cranberry Transportation to be able to transport the hand cycle from the ferry to the starting area at Jetties, and then they had to take the hand cycle from there back to the Nantucket Hotel where they were staying. Then they had to take it back to the High Line where they were putting it on. So anyway, there's a little bit of logistics going on, but they got it all done, and they ended up having like really a wonderful stay here and everything, and they plan on coming back again next year. I saw the two athletes on Matticat Road, and I was so impressed. Frederico, who is blind, was in a bike built for two. And I'm going to say he was probably about the 8th person that came down Matticat Road on the bike. I mean, like, how fast did you get out of the water? You know, he already was in the water on the bike, and then he was going to be doing the run afterwards. I was just so impressed by this, and then Cedric came along on the hand cycle, and again, it was just so impressive to watch these two athletes compete in this event, and everything went so smoothly for them. They said it was just like such a really great weekend for them. And anyways, they're going to come back next year, but it's a really great organization, Achilles International. They actually have a chapter in Boston on Newbury Street. The first time I was ever introduced to it, but very impressed.
Well,
Where did they stay on
bravo
Nantucket?
to Brenda.
Oh yeah, no, no. Hey, they called the Commission on Disability. I answered, you know.
Well,
Thank you. They end up staying at the Nantucket Hotel.
Okay, so that's
On the
handicap
airport.
accessible.
Yeah, it was accessible. So they end up having a great experience. Like, you know, restaurants, I told them about the restaurants they can go to, just everything. The accessible taxis was huge, you know, just it was really great experience for them. So anyway, that's and then that's that.
I
And
tried to get,
great.
excuse me, I'm sorry, Brenda.
that's okay. No, go ahead,
I
Jeanette.
tried to get a place at Brimpoint Courtyard for my daughter's roommate from college, because she's starting with MLS or whatever it is, and she can't walk. But we didn't have a fully handicapped bathroom for her to get into, you know, a walk-in shower. So that didn't come through. But I just thought this might be nice if I could mention to her Nantucket Hotel.
Yep.
That.
I think there's a lot of hotels that are wheelchair accessible and have accessible rooms, but some are more affordable than the others. You
Right.
know? And so
Yeah.
I think Nantucket Hotel. No, actually, they were staying out Nantucket Inn out by the airport. I'm sorry, Nantucket.
Right. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, exactly, Nantucket Inn, and I think that's a more affordable option than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so.
well, she got to see her this time. The group of the college roommates went up there or whatever and spent a few days with her and her husband. So
Very nice.
that was good. Yeah.
Very nice. So then when we had an election, I think it was in May, the elections are held up at the high school, right? The automatic door opener wasn't working.
Right.
And so somebody reached out to town administration on this, whether it was Erica or whoever it was, and they called, and the gentleman was not happy, rightfully so, you know. And so anyway, Libby passed on that news to me. You know, I was part of the whole email chain and everything. But anyway, what they ended up doing, is it Beth Hallett, who's our superintendent? Beth, yes. Anyways, she took care of it, and the custodians of the schools, they put a policy in place where every week they would go around and check the automatic door openers to make sure that, you know, that they were always operating, so this problem would never happen again. And so I reached out to Chip, one of the custodians, Wednesday, just to make sure all the doors are working. We get an election coming up on Tuesday, you know, just to let's not. He goes, we check them every week, Brenda. They're actually ordering they ordered 2 new doors that are going to come in November, but he says everything is like perfect and set to go. So that was good, right? And then,
Yeah.
so, so at 31 Fairgrounds, that's that area that has all those 8 buildings going in, you know, the Housing Nantucket is doing it. It's like affordable.
Bill Cassidy.
Yeah, Billy Cassidy, yep. So Mickey and I, Matt McGeckran designed them. And so we worked very closely with him to
Mhm.
make sure that 2 of the units were accessible. One's a 3-bedroom unit, one's a 2-bedroom unit. And they did a great job and everything. So now they're advertising for it, Housing Nantucket. And I saw that they weren't advertising for the wheelchair accessible units. I reached out to them. They said, sorry, you tell us what you want us to say. So I did. Everything was fine. So now I reached out to them this week to get an update on like, how's things going. I see that, you know, I understand that, you know, a couple of the units are complete. And so one of the women called me back, Lynn. She called me and I returned a call today. And the 3-bedroom unit, first of all, it's not going to be finished until the end of next spring sometime. And that nobody can move in until then because they need a CO of the whole property to be able to move in. But the 3-bedroom wheelchair accessible unit is already promised to somebody. They found this family through the hospital. And they reached out to the hospital to see if they knew anybody. And I guess the daughter is in a wheelchair. So they're going to get the 3-bedroom accessible unit, which makes me so happy. And so now Charlene asked me, so they have a 2-bedroom accessible unit. And she asked me if I knew anybody. And I told her we're having a meeting today. I'm going to put it out there. If anybody, now this could be an elderly person. It can be, you know, it can be anybody with like a ambulatory disability, right? And so I'm putting it out there for everyone
Rental?
to, pardon me?
Rental?
It's a rental. It's a rental. It's a rental with Housing Nantucket. So it's a more affordable rental. And it's brand new and completely wheelchair accessible. And so I'm putting it out to everyone because just so we can ask around if anybody knows of someone that's looking for a wheelchair accessible place
And it's
to
2
rent.
bedrooms.
It's 2 bedrooms, Jeanette. Yes,
Okay,
it is.
because I'm trying to think if one of my children were asking if I knew of anything. So I'll just put it out on our Griswold family text.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so, and you can they can reach out to Housing Nantucket, or I can give you Charlene's email address and stuff, because they
Okay.
are looking for someone to she's looking for candidates for that 2-bedroom place, which I thought was great, right?
Right, definitely.
One
All right.
next- Is this the one next to
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds? Is
Yes.
that all those units? Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's all Housing Nantucket. Okay.
Yeah. It's really I thought Matt McGeckran did a really great job designing. Mickey, do you want to chime in on, you know, the design of the place?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually seen it completed. I should have been more noticing it as I drove by, but I never did. But yeah, I think it was a good general layout and the, you know, good variety of appearance, you know, the aesthetic I think is nice too. So I think it's going to be a great place.
Yeah. There's lots of green space.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I think it was a really well thought out plan. So, all right, so that's what's going on there. Okay, I ordered one new ramp this year, maybe 2, just because they're in such high demand. There was one point in the summertime where I didn't have a 10-footer ramp. I had almost nothing available, so I got a 10-foot ramp, and thankfully I did, because right after I received it, someone reached out to me and asked me for it. Yeah, and I was like, I am so grateful that I had that. But in the summertime, especially, I have a couple of ramps out right now, as a matter of fact, still. So they are in high demand. A lot of people know about them, and so it's still working.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good.
Mickey, you want to tell them about the paddle courts?
Sure. This is the land banks. I can't think of the name of the organization, but it's the paddle club out by the airport.
Yeah,
And
paddle court, I think.
yeah, It's
from
owned by
way
the
back.
bank, but it's the paddle group is a private organization and they must lease the land or something because they pay for the improvements to it. I'm pretty sure. But Brenda and I met with Eleanor from the land bank a few days ago out there, and one of the representatives from the association. And they're currently planning on expanding the number of courts they have. At the moment they have, I think, 4 paddle courts and 4 pickleball courts. And they're going to be adding another 4 pickleball courts, and then 2 courts for something called padel, which is a new sort of paddle game. And they the big question was how to connect all the different courts and what kind of surfaces to use to do that. And they at first they had I don't know what they had, if there was a real concern about what they were proposing. It has to be a hard accessible surface. And I think for the most part, they were proposing to do that in some variations of either asphalt or other. They want to make their surfaces permeable because it's a kind of a green requirement for developing large developments. So they're looking for walkways that water can permeate through. And that's sort of the challenge these days.
Maybe it should cork.
What was that?
Cork,
Cork?
yeah. I don't know.
You know, they part of their accessible path that they have already is like a boardwalk.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it might have been, I don't think it was a wooden boardwalk, but it had like it was a boardwalk and it had like a rough surface, so it was anti-skid. So I just said, why don't you put in a boardwalk? That solves all the problems here, you know, just like it's the water can drain, you know, it's great, it's good looking, and it's great for access. And they said, well, it's expensive. And we were like, well,
Yeah.
you know, they're concerned about costs. And I says, I understand you're concerned about cost, but it says it's got to be something that's permanent and something that's wheelchair accessible. So they'll decide, I guess, what it's going to be. But they were very open to a lot of our suggestions and everything, including like their parking lot is gravel. So it's not even an accessible parking lot. There's not an accessible path to the ramp. And so they're going to deal with everything. They're going to deal with the whole property at once.
Yeah, while this came up, we commented on the fact that their parking space and the walkway to the existing courts are gravel and clearly not accessible. And they said that they would address that issue while they're doing this sort of a master planning. And they did, Eleanor, this is a problem that the land bank is dealing with on several of their properties is accessible pathways from between parking and the facilities. And so Eleanor asked us to kind of put together recommendations that would be HDC appropriate and accessible and hopefully permeable too. So I think that's something that needs some studying. We didn't have any great answers for her. There are options. Some of them are pretty expensive, like the boardwalk and other.
Where is this location, Mickey? Where is this one?
Well, the one we were meeting at was the paddle courts.
Where?
It's
The
out-
airport.
Yeah, by the airport.
Hinsdale Road, right?
Yeah, it's at the end of Macy Lane, heading north, basically.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
That is now.
So that's something that Brenda and I, Brenda, we got to work on that.
Yep.
Try to come up with some recommendations for different materials for that, because after that meeting or around then, maybe it was before then, we went out to the land bank's property, the golf course, the old Sconset golf course, Skinner's, and they're supposed to have like an accessible path from the parking up to the clubhouse, and it's terrible. It was designed to use those sort of honeycomb plastic gridded things you stick in the ground and let grass grow through it. And the plastic grid is supposed to give it some rigidity. And maybe it works if it's well maintained and the grass is cut very short, but it was none of that was evident at the golf course. It was in horrific shape. parking area was completely a mess. The big landscape timbers, that was gravel too, and landscape timbers were sort of creating big obstacles to get around it. So I don't know if we've actually done this yet, Brenda, but we're about to ask them to review a number of their properties, the land bank, to improve, fix, correct all these issues regarding their access, their pathways.
When they were with Skinner's, what's it called now? I don't even know what the golf course is called, but I'm just gonna call it Skinner's. I think it was Rachel, she reached out to us, so we had a Zoom meeting with her, and they talked about these plastic molds, where they keep the grass real short and they're wheelchair accessible and stuff. And they put it in what the path going up to the clubhouse, because the parking lot's down here and the clubhouse is up here, right? So there's like a long path going up there. The path is horrific because when it rains, and you know how torrential our rains can be, the path just gets all muddied, and it's just like, it is so uneven. You can't even see where the molds were, and the grass is up. It's really a shame. And people that walk up that path, not even with an ambulatory disability, they hate it, and they're like winded by the time they get on top of it. The management, we spoke with them, they hate that path and they want something done with it. So it's so we reached out to the land bank, and right after our meeting with Eleanor at the paddle courts, she went over there, says, take a look at it. It is horrific. And so that, and then out at Tristram's Landing, I call it, Long Pond, Tristram's Landing. The land bank did they have a beautiful piece of property, and they have this beautiful, beautiful platform, pier, dock, whatever you might want to call it, going out to the out in the pond, and then they have a beautiful platform at the end with benches around it. I mean, it's gorgeous. Unfortunately, they put the plastic molding in there again, and they put pebbles in it. Well, I'm going to show you one of the size of the pebbles that is in it. I went out there on Wednesday, when I picked my husband up from the High Line. I went out there to look at it. It is anything but accessible. And somebody called me on Wednesday, just before I left the office, complaining that she brought her husband out there in a transport wheelchair, and the transport wheelchair's got the small wheels on it because it's just meant for transport. She got him out of the car, and that's as far as she could get him. She couldn't even wheel him on that. So I promised her that we would address this and we would get this taken care of. Have you ever encountered these pebbles with the molds, the plastic molds in it, Mary Beth and Augie?
So,
Well, we got stuck when we went to,
yeah, that's a lumpy rock.
we went to Something Natural. The rocks are way too,
Something
Yeah.
natural.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really, yeah, he hadn't been
Yeah, I
there
got
for
stuck.
a long time. I usually do, if I go there at all, I do takeout. And I said, let's go, it's a nice day. And so we parked at the there's just one accessible spot,
Yeah,
but
I went up the wrong way. I should have went behind the car and then up.
yeah, but you can't
With
avoid the
the right
rocks
side.
no matter what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
So we pull up in the ramp van, and we open the ramp.
On the right,
Yeah, and he gets
Yeah,
out.
on the right,
No, I mean, it was really kind of your fault, right?
yeah.
But there were rocks in front too.
Yeah, but I
right?
didn't remember where to go.
Yeah, so he should have gone in front, so that he actually went all the way up, all the way to he was disappointed because you can't get into Something Natural anymore post-COVID, because it used to be cute. In the fall and the winter with the fireplace and the
Well,
soup
the
and
point is,
that.
the point is the rocks make it really tough.
Yeah, the point is he got stuck in rocks, and he panicked.
Yeah.
And there was this guy walking by, and he's like, do you need help? And I think he was almost expecting like a no, and I looked at him, I was like, yes. So he did like a rocking thing and like dragged him up. But I think Augie jumped the gun a little bit, because he tried to go behind the van and then start up the pathway to Something Natural. So instead of going in front of the van, you know what I mean? So was that,
No, I went in
would
front
you
of
have still
it.
had a problem?
No, I went in the front of it. That's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to go behind the van and go around the other
Well,
way.
there was still pebbles behind the van, it's
No,
just
I
they were
know,
more
though.
worn down. The bottom line is it's a rock driveway and it is
Oh,
hard,
it's supposed to go where the bricks are, the red bricks are.
right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at it.
yeah, just the rocks, like maybe just need to be more compact.
Yeah,
It's
they're
more,
lumpy.
say, dirt,
I,
it's
I,
more
I
dirt.
think it was probably 50% our fault, but,
No, it's nobody's fault,
but-
look, they should make it for it's packed down, it should have more dirt and then it won't be a problem.
yeah.
Just add some
And
more.
he did get stuck. If that guy didn't come by, I wouldn't have gotten him out. It would have
But
been.
anybody can get stuck, you know, I mean, what if somebody's by themselves?
Yeah,
That won't be good.
No, but I'm just saying we/you
No,
probably
it's
took
just-
the wrong route.
No, they should fix it.
All
Well,
right, well, there you go. I'm
Yeah.
going quiet.
They-
this is something that's
I have
probably
a-
worth looking at in
Yeah.
terms of the parking lot that Brenda, when you have a chance,
Yeah, definitely.
swing by there, because
Yeah.
it's probably not an accessible surface.
right.
No, oh, well, the park, it isn't. The whole thing is rocks. They've attempted to make this one accessible spot. On this particular day, I was shocked. The parking lot was jammed. And in fact, the only parking spot was the accessible spot. So, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I also
Okay, I'm
have,
gonna look at it.
Thank you.
there's another concern I wanna bring up too. Do you know the sidewalk where, where the gas light is?
Yes,
Yeah,
So that narrow sidewalk and like right like near like the windows right there, like they have right near windows, like you know on sidewalk they have like these gray like boxes, whatever. They
like
go
window boxes,
no, it's like electrical box or whatever.
On the ground?
okay,
Yeah, one of
It's
those.
on the ground, it's on
Against the
the,
building?
no, it's not against the building. It's like in like the stones. It's like around like the stones.
okay.
Sidewalk.
Oh, it's in the sidewalk.
It's in the sidewalk and they need to fix the bricks because no, I'm able to get now I'm able to drive off of it, but going up it I can't because it's higher than the wheel of my chair. My chair won't get up on it and the bricks, they gotta fix the bricks for that way it's basically lined up with it.
You got it. You know, again, I think we have a good working relationship with
Yeah, it's gonna fix the
Drew
sidewalk.
at the DPW, and I'm gonna mention this to him.
Yeah, it's
Just
gonna
to
fix
get the sidewalk there done. How's that sound?
yeah, it's gonna redo the sidewalk in front of the gas.
Did it
Yeah.
look like maybe they did some maintenance on it and then they did a sloppy job putting the bricks back in?
Yeah, probably they had an assist up underneath the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah,
I have a
Yeah.
question, back to the Skinners. Who manages that?
So,
It used to be Maya Comet that did years
yeah,
ago.
well, it is part of my comment, but they actually have a golf management group come in and manage the property. I mean, a company, and then like,
Right,
and so the people that, what was it, Billy Tanavich and was it Jack Moran? They were out there, they're managing the property right now, but there is a company.
that has got it, they had,
Yes, exactly. They have a managing company.
yeah, that was when we had the previous manager out there. They probably got the new company when, I don't know,
Maybe,
a long time ago, a couple of years ago.
yeah, maybe. All right, so that's it. All right, so one thing, yeah, I think it was in 2008, Libby asked me if I wanted to be the town's ADA coordinator, and it kind of just made sense because I worked for the Commission on Disability. It was a town employee that ended up retiring, and so yeah, I said I took it. I mean, it's like it just kind of like it goes with my job anyways, and I never had to deal with a reasonable accommodation until now, believe it or not. And so it's been an interesting process for me, and it's been a good one so far. I've able to, I've looked, I did a lot of research on it, and it's just like I can't talk personally about who this is and the accommodation they're looking for, but the accommodation looks pretty straightforward. And we actually have a meeting with the HR director, Amanda Perry, on Tuesday afternoon at 1:30. So see what happens, but anyways,
What do
it's
you mean, what does accommodation mean, Brennan? Employment or housing?
an employment accommodation, yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Yep, yep, and so, you know, you can have like an accommodation, employment accommodation, if you have a physical disability, a mental disability, whatever it might be, you know, like. And so, what you kind of need is documentation from the doctors, and, you've got to be able to, say, like, if you want to do your job hybrid, I'm just using that as an example, right? You have to be able to perform your job duties in a hybrid situation. It can't be like, you know, you're out doing like, you know, like work on the road and ask for a, you have to be able to do your job with the accommodation, whatever the accommodation might be. And, this person's accommodation, it looks pretty straightforward to me because she has all the documentation. Her supervisor's on board with it, you know, so, yeah, so it's been an interesting process for me. After all these years, 16 years later, I have a reasonable accommodation. I couldn't believe when they were like, I was there like, oh gosh. I gotta do some research here, you know, but anyways, it's going out, it's really kind of working pretty well.
Good.
And then, so we worked with the, Mickey, this is you tell them about the Stop and Shop, because you did all this work. The corral.
Yeah, this was a painful process. We've been trying to do this for years. And the previous Stop and Shop manager, some guy named Dave, was really unhelpful in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
We asked him many times, and at first he said fine, and then he never did anything. And then we followed up and he hadn't done it. So we went back and asked again. He said, no, I can't do it because that has to go through upper management. And it was sort of like a brick wall. He wouldn't talk to upper management about it or ask for sort of an accommodation. And it just ended there. And then finally they got a new manager and we went back and talked to him. And he basically gave us the same answer, but he did actually refer us to the upper management guy, or maybe he talked to him himself. I can't remember, but I ended up speaking to, his manager, and they eventually agreed. I guess that I can't remember what else happened, Brenda, but maybe you can.
No,
They
I think
eventually just agreed to let it to do it, to move the corral. We're talking about the cart corral
Yeah.
next to the disabled parking space.
Yep. It was, when we were asking for it, Mickey was really the one that really kept pursuing this. When he was asking for it, they kept saying, well, you know, Stop and Shop has a plan. Every parking lot is like this. This is where the corrals are. And they're like, well, just, they're not cement, and some of them, most of them are movable, like, you know, they're not bolted into the concrete, into the asphalt. And so we said, you know, so anyways, we said, we're just asking to move one next to the accessible parking space, so that when people get out of their cars, they can get a cart, and then when they can just put the cart back there and just get into their vehicle. Anyways, they did it.
Is it still there?
Oh yeah, it's still there. I was there, it was there last week. It is still there, Mickey.
Good.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Is it right directly, the spots right in front of the main entrance?
I consider the main entrance, the one that I go in, is the one by produce.
Yeah, that's the one I go in.
Yeah, it is. It's right there.
Oh, I'll have to notice. Have you noticed?
No.
Yeah, but that's where it is.
All right.
You know, it really helps people that, you know, have like, you know, like have problems ambulating, and usually have to use a walker or a cane or whatever, you know, so it really helps a lot. So after years we got that done. You think that'd be like a real simple fix, don't you? You know, but and it ended up being a simple fix. It just took a long time to get that fix.
Mm.
So that's done. So and someone reached out to me about the hospital doors, like, you know, and I've dealt with this before with this person. The hospital doors to the restrooms, they're just so heavy to open. So anyway, I reached out to the hospital. They said they adjusted all the door, they made all the proper adjustments on the door, so it's only takes like 5 pounds of force or whatever it is to open the door, and made sure the door closer was, you know, within the proper range that it's supposed to be. Well, fast forward, the person contacted me again, says, these doors aren't, I know, they're so heavy, they, by the time I get in there, it's almost like hitting me and pushing me into the restroom. So again, I reached out to the hospital. They were great. They adjusted every door, whether it was a restroom door or whatever, to the proper pull and like the closure, making sure the closure is longer than maybe than necessary. And also said there was a few reach out, there's a few restrooms, a family restroom that had an automatic door opener on it that is like they could use, and another restroom that they could use. But anyway, we kind of got that settled, and the hospital was very good about like immediately they did it for us. It was
Okay.
good.
Good.
Okay, so this one here. So Sunday morning in August at about 9:30, I get a phone call. And I get a phone call, and it's
This
this
is bad
woman,
stuff.
it's this woman who's coming to Nantucket that afternoon with her husband who's in a wheelchair. It's like their first time on the island, right? With their husband that's in the wheelchair, and wanted to know if I could ramp their property. And they're like, I was like, oh my gosh. I goes, oh, can you tell me where the property is? And so she told me where it was. And it was off of New Lane. If you go up New Lane right from Matticat Road, it's like the second left. And it's like this house, I think, rents for like $65,000 a week in the summertime. So anyway, I said, okay, so I just started asking her a bunch of questions. Goes, how you getting to the island? And so I said, do you have a wheelchair accessible vehicle? What's going on? And so she said, yep, we do. We my brother, they're from Philadelphia. My brother-in-law is driving the van up to Hyannis, and they went to the High Line thinking they could put the van on
Oh, gee.
Oh,
I mean, they just did not. This gentleman has ALS and it's kind of new to the wheelchair. So, and I know the wife was like, they have a young daughter that was 6 years old. I know the wife has a lot going on, So, anyways, then the Highline said you have to go to the steamship. Well, they went over to the steamship. It's August on Sunday. You're not getting over here, right?
yeah.
So now she's talking to me about this, and her brother-in-law is in line at the High Line. They have the van parked in an accessible parking space at the Highline parking lot. And so I told her, I goes, there's a standby policy. And this is where we started. There's a standby policy. If you need your in the motorized wheelchair is in the accessible van, right? And they are traveling via the plane. That's another story. So I'll stick with this one. So now I said, well, tell your brother-in-law to get out of the line, go get the van, go to the steamship, tell the agent at the check-in shack that there's a standby policy that if you have to travel with your vehicle, then you go first in the standby line. Well, the agent didn't have a clue what he was talking about. He says, I never heard of such a thing. I don't know where you got this information. It's totally wrong. So now the woman, her name is Sherry, she called the supervisor on duty. And the supervisor on duty goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Whoever gave you this information is wrong. Well, so now I'm talking to Sherry. So I told her to do all this, right? To go to so now I'm talking. I goes, how are you getting here? And she goes, we're going to fly. I goes, I said, what airline you coming in on? She goes, American. I goes, did you contact American and tell them that you need like a lift when you get here to Nantucket because you're going to be dropped off on the tarmac? I didn't know we had to do that. Goes, call them. So they will have that. You have to call the airline that you're working with. Okay. I said, how do you plan on getting from the airport to your home with your husband in a manual wheelchair? Oh, I don't know. I said, here's the accessible taxis. There's 3 of them. Call them. You can reserve it. You can have one waiting for you when the plane comes in. Great. So now I go to the house. It is the driveway is down here, and the house has got to be 35 feet up the hill. And I'm like, how are we going to do this? And so luckily it was nicely grassed and mowed well. there was one entrance that I could possibly ramp for them. With the ramps I only had available, I didn't even have that many ramps available. And so I was able to ramp the side entrance for them to, like, they'd have to wheel him up to to that side entrance. But anyways, I did it, okay, with the ramp. I could have done a much better job had she reserved these long in advance. You know, I could have ramped so much more for her. So now I reach out to her. So she's got all that done. So I reach out to her Sunday evening, I guess it was, or Monday morning. I goes, tell me, did you get to Nantucket? How'd everything go with the steamship? She goes, Brenda, the steamship has no idea what we're talking about. My car, the supervisor, now she's telling me what happened when I told her to go to do the standby policy. I was livid. I was there like, are you kidding me? The van is still in Hyannis. Her husband's here, not in his motorized wheelchair, his high-tech motorized wheelchair. I called the steamship and got the supervisor, and the supervisor had no idea what I was talking about.
Oh, gee.
I'm there like, she goes, I have to look up this policy. I said, you don't have to look it up. I can tell you exactly where to find it. Look on your homepage. You look under the accessibility policies and you'll see all the ones that we spent about 1.5 years. Jeanette, were you around when we did this? About 1.5 years with the general counsel, Steve Sayer at the time, to put all these great policies in place. I mean, the steamship did a wonderful job, but now nobody knows about the policy. So anyways, I told the supervisor where to look for it. She calls me back and she says, what are you looking for? I goes, I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I says, I'm looking for the people from Nantucket. Sherry can take the Highline Ferry back to Hyannis, get the van, drop it off to you guys, and put it first on, and put it on the next event, put it on the very next ferry. And so she said that she would do that. She says, and I says, and I asked her how this is going to work. And then I says, does your agent, when they come there, is your agent aware of what's going to happen here? That, you know, she goes, my agent's totally aware. It happened to be the same agent that they had on Sunday, and he was totally apologetic. He said, I had no idea this policy even existed. So I don't blame the employees. I blame upper management for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the employee's fault that they don't know this. I mean, they're like, someone's coming up saying, this is your policy. He says, they're like, no, it's not, you know? So anyway, everything, Sherry said, the agent was so apologetic and so helpful, and everyone at the steamship was great after that, right? So they get the van back with the motorized wheelchair. They're just as happy as you can only imagine it. It made their vacation. The husband was ready to go back to Philadelphia, because he wasn't going to be able to get around the town the way that he wanted to. So I sent an email to the general manager explaining the whole situation. And I said, I don't blame the agents. I don't blame the supervisors. I blame upper management. If they don't know about it, that's a problem from upper management. Upper management doesn't know about it.
You call on me? I'm sorry, maybe he's a recent diagnosis, but as someone who loves and lives with a person in a wheelchair, you don't just haul off willy-nilly and show up on an island without having done some preparation. I blame Sherry.
I know. Well,
maybe there are others to blame too, but that's where the blame begins, and you're amazing.
Well, the Steamship Authority should know their policies is what I'm getting at. It's not even so much all that I could do for Sherry and her husband. Michael is his name. The steamship should know their policy of what their standby policy is. It's like, if you show up in an accessible vehicle that you have to travel with, they're supposed to put you first in standby line, period. And so they didn't know the policy.
Yeah, but she should have known the policy. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm overly organized and obsessive.
Yes, that's true.
But
well, think about it, Mary Beth. She's calling me at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. She's
and she's leaving him vulnerable, and his best interests aren't at heart by just, how badly do you need to take a vacation if it's not safe? I don't know. You're amazing.
This was kind of a new condition.
We need to give her a raise.
No, steamship should know, but I mean, if you are the caretaker and primary advocate for someone who's in that situation, it rests on her shoulders too. The buck has to stop somewhere.
Who knows what she is how she's, you're organized, Mary Beth, you're on it. Not everybody is, you know? And what I'm getting at is the steamship should know the policy.
Yeah,
And I was just livid. And so I sent an email to the general manager. You know, you on the steamship website, you can send an email to them. And I did, and I just outlined the situation that they ended up here on Nantucket on Sunday night with no motorized vehicle, no accessible van. And then I said, I blame upper management. I don't blame the supervisor. I don't blame the agents. And could you please make it, I trust you're gonna make this a priority to educate everyone at the steamship about the accessibility policy. I heard nothing from him. Nothing.
well,
No,
that's not right, that's just wrong, yeah.
it is. So I emailed him again today and I just said, I'm resending this email to you that I sent to you in August. And I hope to hear back with you when you get a moment. So I resent it, just so you know. Mickey was
Brenda.
I was on the phone with Mickey and Mickey's there. I goes, Mickey, I'm livid. She goes, oh, I can tell Brenda.
How about Nat Lowell? He's our representative, isn't he, for the steamship?
Oh, yeah.
And he's a tough guy he'd stick
Yeah.
to it.
He'll take care of it.
I'm gonna reach out to him.
That's a very
I
good idea.
would.
I love it, Jeanette. I'm so glad I'm talking about this.
I am glad you are
Oh,
too,
your
because
cat,
I say we need to give
Brenda.
you a raise.
I'm sorry, we
Oh,
love
yeah.
cats.
Oh, we had 3. Give me a sense. We had 3. We lost one June 6th, and now we have 2.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. They were triplets.
okay, sorry.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, so that's what's going on with the steamship. And so what I plan on doing, and I probably should have done this before, when I went to the property to pick up the ramps, I met the realtor who rents that property. She was not the rental agent, but she has that property rental. She had no idea about the ramp. She had no idea about the steamship standby. She had no idea about the airport or accessible taxis. So I'm going to put a memo together and see if they can distribute it to all the real estate agents. So if their clients do need help, that they have this information. So that is on my list to do.
Yeah, they
Good.
should do
I
that.
like it.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
They
Okay.
Yeah.
So end of me talking. Everyone else can talk now.
I wanna hear more stories.
So,
Oh, wait, Augie's what are you talking about? Go
so
ahead.
did they get any more license for new for any more handicap taxis, or is it still the same amount of taxis?
No, so we have 3 wheelchair accessible taxis. Is that what you're asking me, Augie?
Yeah.
Yep, and there's still 1 license available, and we changed the taxi regulations, right? To say that
Yeah.
it's not as restrictive as it was. But I'll reach out to Ann Cimitaro and see if she can see if we can get that 4th license taken. But we have 3 really good accessible taxis going right now. It's really been great, actually. We're very fortunate.
Hey Brenda, I wonder if there's any way for us to sort of keep an eye on that end of the business during the middle of the winter when there's likely to be some of them may take a break over the winter. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
so
want-
what do you, what do you think, what are you thinking, Mickey? What would you like?
Well, I'm just, the objective would be to make sure that at least one of those accessible cabs is running, at each time, there isn't one time when they're all like in Florida. on
Right.
vacation. So I don't know how we actually do that except by,
No, I was gonna say, I'm asking Augie if he wants to be the guinea pig. He goes, no, that's okay. That might be the only way to find out.
Yeah.
well, I don't think we need Augie to do it. I think we just need to call to make sure to see who's available around.
Don't
the-
they have a taxi association that would meet? I remember them coming before, maybe at the airport and maybe
Yeah.
this.
There
Before.
is a taxi association and, that would be a terrific thing if they could handle that on their own, but I doubt that they're thinking about it, so maybe that's just one of those things that's, could fall through the cracks unless we do something about it.
Right.
All right, so how do you want to handle this?
Well, Well, first of all, I guess we could contact the taxi association. There's gotta be a president of some sort
Mm-hmm.
and see if that's on their radar at all, see if they've thought about that.
Yeah.
And,
Well, if there's only three, I mean, couldn't you just drop a note to the three and ask them to be sure and check with each other if they're gonna go on vacation?
yeah, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
more direct route and probably the most effective. So
Yeah.
let's do that too.
Okay.
Just three, it's not like 30, you know, it's,
Mhm.
I think that they'd be responsive to that.
So what we're gonna ask for is, matter of fact, I talked to one of the taxi operators maybe Wednesday, this week anyway, Tanya's taxi. And she said it's been going really good. So now the winter's coming up and everything's much slower. What was she thinking of doing? She was thinking of like contacting, I think the Elder Services at one time had a grant to drive people around in wheelchairs, and the people could, I don't think I'd paid for, I think Elder Service kind of paid for, hired, I don't know exactly how it ended up working. But she was reaching out to someone else also to see if she could be like, the transport. I think she was reaching out to the hospital. Yeah, I think she was, to try to like, keep her going through the winter time. So I know she's thinking about she's staying here the winter, so I know that, you
Good.
know. So if I contact the three taxi companies, what I'm gonna ask is, if you plan on taking any time off this winter, could you please make sure that working and with the other two taxi companies to make sure that somebody is on the road the whole time, somebody is available, because we understand that you need a break too, because all these taxi companies they're just like a one person operation, right? And we understand everyone deserves a break and some time off, but could they work together to make sure that there was a wheelchair accessible taxi available at all times? That sound good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, I can do that.
Great.
All right. Okay. Third unit. All right. That's all I got.
So thank you, Brenda. That was the announcements and update on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have new business?
No.
No new
New
business.
business is just the election of officers. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to reach out to Cord to see if they'll they kind of reached out to me. They were at two of the expos this year. They were at one. I can tell you the exact dates, because one was the cribbage tournament, September 28th, when I was off island organizing that for the family. And the other one was October 19th, where I was organizing Mike's 5K to crush substance abuse, a big event in Milton, that the last one we did. So I couldn't be there to meet with Cord, but they were at two affairs here, and they do want to get more involved with Nantucket. So I'm going to reach out to Cord to see how we're going to make this all happen. They said that they do deal with a couple of people here on Nantucket, but they're looking to like spread their wings here on Nantucket more, which I thought was great.
Good.
So I'm going to reach out to Cord, and somebody else wanted, I have it written down, somebody else wanted to like be at our meetings, just see what's going on. Maybe it was Cord, but anyways, I'm going to reach out to them. And just on like, I was downtown last night for Halloween, and we saw some friends down there, and this guy's name is Ed, and he has a friend here who's 95, and I think he is a photographer, was a photographer, is a photographer. Anyway, he has an assistant that wiped out his bank account on him.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, he put her on the checking account. And I think this person is now also on his deed to his house. And
Oh.
so Ed said, how can I help them? And I said, well, there's a place called, I texted him, it's called the Disabled Persons Protection Commission. It's from the state, and they're actually based in Braintree, but they're there for like elder abuse, whether it's psychological, physical, financial. So I told him to reach out to them and maybe they can give him some guidance, because it can't be the first time that they've ever had to deal with something like this. So, maybe
Brenda, I
even
think
get,
that- I
huh?
think those are the people that wanted to meet with us.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that I'll invite them to a meeting so we can find out more about them and how they can like help people here in Nantucket. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
horrible. Did the person run off?
The person is, I think they're on the Cape right now.
Wow.
I know, I mean, but I don't know how all this works either, you know, I mean, like, there's people out there that have no problem abusing elderly people, you know,
No.
none at all. Okay, disable.
And they don't have family on island probably to watch.
Yeah, you know, I really don't know who the person is.
No, yeah.
And because they didn't reach out to me themselves, it was like through a friend. He says, I want to be able to help my friend somehow. How can I do it? You know? So so maybe I think it's a good thing if they do come, they do get invited to our next meeting. Maybe we can meet in another month or so
Mm-hmm.
for Thanksgiving. And maybe like, you know, hear what they have to say and how they can be a more a bigger presence here on Nantucket.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sound good?
Yeah. Because they were seeking us out. I think they wanted to
Yeah,
meet with us.
okay, good enough. All right, that's all I got.
Okay, so I think we're at the end of our agenda. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up and talk about?
Not now.
Yeah, you got anything?
No,
No?
Any new curb cut locations, Augie, that you've come across?
not really.
Goes,
You know where I'm gonna ask for a curb cut and a crosswalk is right when you're coming down Easy Street as you come into Broad Street, right? I mean, like you, there's a great accessible sidewalk on the other side, but there's no curb cut and there's no crosswalk there.
Hmm,
No, that I mean, a perfect place for a crosswalk is there,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's such a busy area, right?
On the corner of the taco place or whatever it is?
Yes, right there, or even on the other, yeah, right there, because that's where the sidewalk is somewhat accessible. They have an asphalt ramp there.
I wouldn't.
I'm surprised.
I
Yeah.
am too. I took a picture of it. I'm gonna send it to Drew.
Where everybody walks, right?
Oh, I know, it's such a busy, but such a busy area, there's
always
no crosswalk there at all.
Oh, you know what? You know it'd be great for them to add a crosswalk. Is for the Millies on like the Rotary. They should add a crosswalk that goes from the parking lot across the street. You go across the street from the parking lot.
Wait, what? Like Millie's at the Rotary?
Yeah, Millies at the Rotary.
A crosswalk that goes from the Millie's parking lot
Yeah, it goes from the Millies parking lot
to what?
to the, what is it, the Inky Mirror or whatever?
I thought there was one. There's not one there.
No, there's definitely not one, cause I.
Well, there is one, but I can't ask Millies there because it's not handicapped. It's like blocked by like the fence and like there's grass right there.
Oh, where all the
Yeah.
bikers go by?
Yeah, the bikers go by.
Oh, so Augie, you're saying if you're parked at Millie's and you wanted to say access fairground, you wanted to access Old South Road?
Oh, I think he wants to just, so when you walked there, when
Yeah,
you walked there.
yeah.
I know what he's saying. He
Okay.
he can't get to the main crosswalk, which if you cross over it, you're gonna be heading up Milestone. He can't get on the Millie's side, right? Millie's side. He can't go out of the restaurant
Right.
and get up to the crosswalk that's right at the Rotary, because there's grass and the tables and everything. So what he wants to be able to do, but I don't know, cars come around that corner really fast.
Yeah.
He wants to be able to get over to the Inky Mirror
No,
so that he can take that crosswalk across Old South and get onto the bike path.
Okay.
But that's a really fast corner.
No, not the corner, not the corner. It goes straight from like the parking lot straight across to the Inky Mirror.
Yeah, I get that, but what I'm suggesting is people whip around.
No, but I'm not talking about the corner though, it's straight, it's a straight
It
path.
doesn't matter because frequently, I have a thing about the chowder,
It's
so I go there once in a while just by myself to
Alright,
pick it up.
alright, then.
And I can't like get out to go left to go to Old South, so I end up just going right and go by the post office, cause cars whip around that
I'm
corner.
not talking about the corner.
It's further down from the corner, but
I
it's not
know.
a safe location for a crosswalk.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I
Does
think-
anyone know what I'm talking about?
Wait,
So
They won't put a crosswalk in the middle
Yeah.
of that section.
They're not gonna do that,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
cars are moving too fast.
Alright.
It's dangerous by definition.
Alright,
Yeah.
alright, that's okay. That's fine.
So I guess I'm trying to understand the destinations where you're going to and from to need to cross the street at that location.
He's trying to get back home to Nashop.
From Millie?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I wanna go there,
Oh,
like in the
Yeah.
summer, like if I wanna go there in the summer, like I don't wanna drive there, like I just wanna ride. there,
Cause it's
like,
right down the bike path.
got
Yeah.
it,
Right,
got
So
it.
you can't get to the Millie's from the crosswalk area, from this, there's no sidewalk around there to
No,
get
I
in?
can't, yeah, it's like blocked
No.
off,
There's no cut, there's grass and there's,
there's like a bike rack there.
yeah, there's a bike rack.
Yeah, so I can't.
Okay, well, it
We'll
might be
look
worth
at it.
just Brenda, looking at that to see if
Yeah.
maybe there's a
Well, they could fix
easy
it, so
switch
they-
that Millie's could do.
Yeah, so if they
Yeah.
could fix that, then that'll be great. They fix
Yeah.
it existing
Perfect.
area.
It sounds like it's more like it's on private property, like
Yeah,
Millie's
it
property
probably
rather
is.
than the town.
It is private property. No, actually, I think it is a town, because I remember that they wanted to paint the fence or whatever, I don't know. And like the town said they can't do that, they can't paint it.
Oh, I remember that, cause I wondered why the fence that they put up in front of Millie's. I had said to Augie, oh, that would be like a cute little white picket fence, wonder why it's like, yeah, they just left it like plain old wood color.
Yeah, yeah,
And you had asked, right? And
Yeah.
cause they originally, they started with a white fence and they were told by the town
yeah. They
or
can't- Yeah,
HDC.
they can't have that,
You would think the town would have wanted it to be a white picket fence, but
yeah,
yeah.
so I think it is like owned by the. Yes, I think right to ask them,
Well, let's look into it.
yeah, alright. That's possible, then they'll be
Gladly look at that.
Good.
Yeah. definitely, cause yeah, definitely make it easy, you know,
Exactly, Augie.
well, for that we don't have to,
He wants access to his tacos, man.
well, for that way I don't have. Because I would have to cross the street, because, you know, I would cross the street safely,
Well, and you don't have to drive there, cause it's a pain in the neck in the summer and you can't get parking there anyhow.
yeah, it's not that much
Right.
park,
Right.
Right.
so if they could do that, that'd be great,
I'm gonna look into it, Augie.
yeah.
Thank
Great.
you.
Okay, so if there isn't anything else that anybody has to talk about, I think we're done here today.
I'll
Um,
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Bye.
All right.
thank
Thank
you,
you, everybody.
everybody.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
rest of the
Stay in
summer.
touch.
Which will probably last a day. Yeah.